Thank you for listening in to Bloodhound Pix. I am one of your hosts, Craig.
And I'm Kyle.
And I'm Josh.
Okay, so today we are doing an episode that we're trying something new moving forward, as this is a trial and error podcast. And moving forward, we're going to do, each episode will feature, one of us will give two movies that we will be discussing. So today is Josh's pick, and his movies are The Evil Within and, for some reason, Nightwish. Because I keep thinking Nightwitch. I don't know why. So, Josh, can you start us off?
Okay, so, Evil Within we'll go with first, which came out in 2017. I'm sure most of you know what this movie is, because the story behind the production is pretty legendary, I would say, at this point. But in The Evil Within, I'm just going to read a generic kind of premise. But a lonely and mentally disabled boy who lives with his older brother is urged by a reflection in an antique mirror to go on a murderous rampage. So, I mean, that's pretty accurate, I would say, and it's probably the one thing in the film that has any type of cohesion to it, because it's very nonsensical. That plot line, though, is the most cohesive bit of it. But yeah, so Evil Within is one of those that I think it took the writer-director of the movie is Andrew Getty, of the prestigious Getty Oil tycoonery, and I think it took Getty 15 years to make this movie. I believe it started shooting in 2002, and it came out in 2017. So that was a long time. And of course, he passed away before it was actually done, because he had a massive meth problem. So when you know that, the movie kind of makes more sense. Also why it took 15 years to finish, because meth's a hell of a drug and nothing's going to be done if you're on meth. You'll never let anything go. Trust me, I know this firsthand. Anyway, when you know that story, the film kind of makes a little more sense as to why it doesn't make sense, I guess. And as I've kind of mentioned already, it's not perfect by any means, but the opening sequence is damn near perfect, and unfortunately, that's the best part of the film, and then nothing ever quite measures up to it. The beginning is just a really elaborate dream sequence, which has one of the most realistically shot dreams, I think, ever, maybe. And also, what is it, about 10 minutes of narration, which you don't really see very often to begin a film. So yeah, it was definitely made by a meth addict. But yeah, so a lot of it doesn't make sense, especially the stuff when you get away from the mentally challenged boy who's actually like a 35-year-old guy. Whatever, it works. I actually totally bought into the kind of whatever the mentally challenged bit of the actor. Like it was convincing enough for me that I wondered if he actually was. I mean, I totally bought it. So I thought the actor was the best part of the movie too, in that being able to both do the kind of, mentally challenged bit, but then also the quote unquote normal, and just like switching like on a dime between the two. I thought the guy did a great job. So, what did you guys think of Evil Within? Did you guys like it?
I mean, like isn't a word I would use. I mean,
Yeah.
other than the opening, which was good, and I felt like some of the effects stuff at the end was cool too. Like the marionette stuff was great. And it just feels all the more weird because everything in between was so bad that you're like... Everything in between felt like, besides the kid becoming a killer, which I agree, like, I thought his performance was pretty good. I mean, it is kind of cliched version of a mentally challenged person, but this was also 2002, so it's a long time ago. It's weird looking at it now, but everything in between reminded me of The Room, because it was just like you could tell they had money and it had production value, but it also looked kind of like they only had a couple locations, and the writing was just so bad, and you're like, what's going on? Like, this looks well shot, but these people talk like, I don't know what's going on. It's just so bad. And I have to point this out because I noticed, like, they keep going to that same restaurant, and in one of those scenes, like the scene where Sean Patrick Flannery is proposing, or you think he's going to propose or whatever, there's a TV in the background with just a loop of a waterfall, and it's like they CGI'd it in, and then the reverse shot, it's the exact same thing behind the actress, and it's just like the weirdest thing, because you're like, you don't really need that there, but you clearly CGI'd it in this TV, and then you CGI'd in a loop of stock footage of a waterfall, and I don't know, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but this is ridiculous.
That is funny. I didn't even notice that. That is fucking hilarious. So, like, yeah, why do you need that? Meth, man. I gotta have a fucking TV with a waterfall on it. I have to have that.
That's how you complete the scene. Dude, the other thing I noticed was randomly, because Legion, I finally watched Exorcist 3 when it was on Joe Bob the other week.
Yeah.
And of course he says, I am Legion, I am many, whatever, because he's possessed by multiple people. And then, the kid says that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, as soon as that came up, I was like, you literally just used the fucking line from Exorcist 3. What the fuck? I mean, it's literally the exact same thing. And what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like one spirit. Like, it is Michael Berryman. It's not many.
Yeah.
It's not many.
It's like, and again, it's like, did you just really like that line and it was the best written line in your movie? Like, fuck it. Just gonna put that in there. I know it's from The Exorcist 3, but
yeah. And the social services lady who just randomly shows up, she's the mom from Better Off Dead, the John Cusack movie.
Yeah, and she's also the mom from Halloween 6.
Is she? Shit,
yeah, she's Deborah Strode.
Wow. Yeah, but that was like, I don't know, it's just another factor where you're like, even the casting, I'm like, this throws me off.
Well, and it's funny too, like you were saying earlier, Kyle, like, Sean Patrick Flannery's a better actor than what you're looking at in this movie.
Yeah, and every word that comes out of your mouth, you're like, oh, man. Like, I know that this is bad, and you're just doing it anyways,
Yep.
And, ugh.
Craig?
So I'll agree with you on, I think the opening and the ending are great. Well, as great as it can be. The opening is, because when you described this initially to us, Josh, you said that it was a lot like the Eraserhead process, that took a series of years. And so for some reason, it's nothing, for those listening and haven't seen it, it's nothing like Eraserhead. But watching that, I had it in my mind, like, oh, okay, so they're doing this voiceover. It's a dream sequence. And now they're just kind of putting in a bunch of big words to make it sound smart or poetic. And okay, yeah, yep. And then yeah, then it gets into the rest of the movie. And no, I agree with. I think the actor was great. I know he kind of plays not that same role, but he always plays somebody nervous or suffering from something. I think he was in. I saw him in like an episode of Criminal Minds, where he was.
Yeah, I saw he was
kind of
he was.
similar.
I think he's. Yeah, I think he has a recurring role, or he did in that show.
Yeah. So, and I always think he's great. He always seems like one of those kind of character actors that Hollywood or movies need a little bit more of, because he doesn't play the, normal leading man. So to have somebody in his role that, isn't like the normal, like somebody that's hunky or whatever you want to call them, it was great to see. Yeah, it just it was one of those ones where I was watching it with all of my focus, and it still felt like a movie you're watching when you're like messing around on your computer, and it's just like background noise. That's what it felt like the entire time, of just wondering what exactly is going on. And normally, like experimental aspects, all of that, like I can buy into, but for some reason they were trying to be cohesive, but then not. And I don't know. Most of what you said on the IMDb, which is a very short synopsis, is like I can see all of that, and that's the gist of it. But there's just a bunch of other stuff that there were. And this actually will go into the next movie a little bit, but where it just felt like they were just throwing stuff in. Like, okay, we need this. Let's throw in this. Oh, why not? This might be scary. And then they kept doing that. And but no, I mean, I like the what was it? The ice cream girl who is there will be spoilers for those of you listening. Who is killed by getting hit by a car and then a bus. That
part was great.
Yeah, and then she comes back as a dream, kind of, or a hallucination, gets naked, and then does, like they do in a lot of horror movies, she just contorts her body to like a crab walk type, not a crab walk, or some sort of weird walk. And
he stole all of the In the Mouth of Madness for that.
Yeah. But that's what I think.
It looked cool, though.
Yeah, no, it works really cool. I think that's what it comes down to for me. It's just like, that would be fun. Throw it in. Why not? Let's do it. And that's what 90% of that movie is.
Yeah. Especially
and so there's a scene, the whole thing kind of worked like this too. It's like there's a scene at the house, which was Andrew Getty's house also, by the way. So you didn't spend any money. Yeah, it is, right? You didn't spend any money on that location. So, but it worked like this almost consistently. Is there's a scene at the house, and more times than not, it was with the main character. I was going to say that actor's name too that we still haven't named is Frederick Kohler. But then the next scene after whatever is taking place at the house is at a restaurant. So we do the restaurant scene, and then we go back to the house for a scene, and then we're at another restaurant scene at a completely. It's like, how many fucking different restaurants were there in this movie? There is at least 4, and if you include the ice cream shop, which isn't a restaurant, but fuck, you can still get food there. It's just like it was like he had to go like in that order of house scene, restaurant scene, house scene, restaurant scene.
It's where you really felt like it was low budget.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And can we talk about the random fucking nautical themed restaurant that is the kid's favorite?
Yeah.
And it's got that like octopus playing the drums, and it's all nautical themed, and then they get pizza. And I'm like, just what is happening here?
Yeah, that was the most unbelievable thing that I had to buy in that film was they're not going to have pizza at a fucking nautical themed restaurant.
And then they decide there's a whole conversation about the octopus and
for no reason.
Animatronics and how it might how it worked.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And there was also that reminds me of when they're arguing about the mirror or whatever, and he's Sean Patrick Flannery says something about like the vault they have in the basement and how there's another vault from Prohibition, and then he goes on to explain what Prohibition is for like 2 minutes, like no one knows. It's like, okay, we get it. What the? Who wrote this shit?
Oh, and also, let's not mention the big marriage subplot that seems kind of pointless, but is in every restaurant scene, basically. So all of these restaurant scenes have something where, they're talking about getting married.
Yeah, it's like basically what you're saying. It's like the same scene every time too, because they're just having the same argument.
Yeah, and it's funny because the girlfriend is like, to Sean Patrick Flannery, like, you need to get rid of or get away from Dennis. And it's like, she just beats that horse fucking constantly. And then there was just like that flip of a switch, and she's like, oh, never mind, I like Dennis now.
Yeah.
It was just weird because the whole time, how many times do you hear her bring that up, that, basically like, if you don't get rid of Dennis, then, I'm never going to be able to have you. And then, so basically she doesn't like Dennis, but then, it's literally like the next scene, she's fine with it.
Because the plot. She's got to go get killed by him now.
Yeah.
Well, everybody says that to him. His psychiatrist. There's the
you need to get away from Dennis. Dennis is his brother, the mentally challenged character too, by the way.
The social services lady who doesn't seem anything like a real social services person. So I don't know where he got that from, unless he just watched a movie once with a social services character type.
Even a bad movie was probably better. Would have given him a more realistic picture of that. That scene was so bad because she just shows up and she's like, "Oh yeah, we've got reports that you were raising your voice, so we just come here and we can take this kid away on the basis of that." And I don't know, it's just like, oh my god, this is so bad.
Well, that and then later when she shows up with the cops and they just go into the house, like, yeah, pretty sure you can't do that.
Yeah, and then they joke about like eating the food in the kitchen. And I'm like, what the fuck is what? Like,
yeah, why?
That's where I feel like we're all just going, tone. I don't know if you know what the fuck tone is, but it's all over the place in this movie.
Indeed.
Okay, so is that our rant on the evil within?
I mean, that's probably pretty good. I mean,
okay.
It is one of those things though where it's like I don't think anyone could actually do justice to the fact of what you actually are in store for though.
Yeah.
Like, not saying that it's great, just that it is, and it's just something that you have to fucking see in order to believe exists. And we didn't mention Michael Berryman really, who, unsurprisingly plays probably the creepiest fucking character he's ever played.
I was gonna say that was like the big disappointment because he looks like that.
Yeah.
Like I've been meaning to watch this forever, and there's a reason I haven't until now. But his makeup and stuff is kind of iconic looking, and he's good in the movie. And I'm just like, fuck, why didn't you use him more? Like he looks great.
Yeah, because seriously, he's only in like 5 scenes maybe, and you definitely should have been in there more.
So for horror fans, we recommend that if you're a big horror fan, to check it out. For non-horror fans, I guess, probably can steer away. I don't know. That's the best recommendation I can give on this.
I mean, if you want to see weird stuff, check it out. If you want to fall asleep, you probably could too.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Here. Okay, so moving on to Josh's next pick, which is not a Finnish metal band, called Nightwish.
Nightwish, yeah, from 1989. So that in and of itself means it's good. I've realized in watching Nightwish again last night that it's becoming one of my favorite films ever made. And the IMDb synopsis is a professor and 4 graduate students journey to a crumbling mansion to investigate paranormal activity and must battle ghosts, aliens, and satanic entities, which is actually somewhat true. So Nightwish is, like I said, one of the best movies ever made. And it was made at a time in the late 80s where horror was especially during that time, it was like the cheesier it got, the better it got, and at least for me. And this movie is definitely that. It also boasts kind of an all-star cast of actors that you definitely know. You might not know that you know them, but any like horror fan definitely knows who Brian Thompson is, right? Elizabeth Caton, I think is how you say her name. She was in Friday the 13th, The New Blood. And then there's, of course, Clayton Rohner from April Fool's Day. And the actors are magnificent, too. Everything about this film is magnificent. Even the 1989 CGI looks pretty good. It actually looks like something that you'd find in like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Which is fucking awesome. And it also has a shitload of practical KNB effects work, and it all looks really fucking good. And once you know, obviously KNB is like, it doesn't get any better. Once you know that too, it all makes sense of why it looks so good. But yeah, this movie basically just throws every fucking thing they can think of into the script. Like I said, it was aliens and ghosts and fucking satanic entities and whatever the fuck else. I'm sure I'm forgetting some other stuff, but
deranged hillbillies or whatever they
deranged hillbillies. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, it kind of makes sense why they did this once you get to the very shitty punchline at the end of the film. It kind of makes sense why the movie doesn't make sense and why everything under the sun, gets thrown into the mix at some point. But I firmly stand by my claim that this is one of the best movies ever made.
Okay, so I don't agree with Josh with that part, but no, I had fun with. I like cheesy. It feels like one step above a full moon film in a way. I think it's better quality than that. But yeah, this one, Josh already touched on it, and I mentioned it when we were talking about the evil within of throwing everything at it, and it also deals with dreams in that it even opens with the professor. It has a lot of kind of nonsensical movie logic, I guess, of the professor has them go into
explaining shit that makes no sense at all.
Yeah, has them go into these dream states to get prepped to fight or to handle themselves if they are to deal with demons, aliens, ghosts, whatever it is. I don't actually know what he's a doctor of, but apparently he's a professor. And
No one knows.
Yeah. It feels like somebody watched Nightmare on Elm Street or something. Or were inspired to. Knowing the synopsis, you don't know that part, but like with Dream Warriors or Nightmare on Elm Street, they're like, oh, I want to do something with dreams, and then they went off in some direction. No, it's fun. I'll give it that. And it was a lot more fun than the Evil Within for me, and I paid more attention to it. And no, I just random dogs pop up everywhere. There's the crazed henchmen, backwoods characters. There's a slime snake entity thing that is a ghost or something, but can be crushed by a hammer or purse or whatever. And then there's fetuses being born inside body parts, which is cool. But I don't know how much we want to spoil stuff for people. But yeah, no, I agree. Once you get to the end, you can kind of see things coming, especially how it's handled and from the beginning what it gives you in terms of the foreshadowing. But it's fine. It's good. Kyle.
Yeah, I got to agree with Craig a lot here. It's definitely better than Evil Within and more fun. But it feels like, to me, they watched Nightmare on Elm Street and then Altered States and Flatliners, and they were like, I'm going to write a movie. And then, and then they're going to get in a van, and we're going to forget all about the dream shit, and we're going to start talking about fucking the desert and wild animals and haunted houses and UFOs. And I don't know what the fuck this movie's about anymore.
Well, don't forget that what Brian Thompson, he runs over a rabbit, and he's supposed to be like this horrible guy, and yet he's kind of also the savior, hero type character too. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
but
it comes back like right at the last minute. But gratuitously running over animals and just saying like, I own the fucking highway or whatever. And you're like, what are you talking about, dude? Okay.
And he laughs a lot.
And he's just a giant asshole to everybody.
Yeah.
There's whole scenes, where he's driving back to the house at night and he's just laughing alone.
Just maniacally cackling like a fucking lunatic.
It felt like they were trying to fill void or fill time too, because there's a lot of scenes where it just cuts to like shots of the barn wall or things like that randomly, and it'll play music.
There was a lot of weird shit where it's just like I don't know what you're trying to do with that shot, but
the version I watched too on Amazon, there was a part where Brian, like towards the end, where he's going back to the house and he's driving and it's night, and then it cut to like a short scene in the house, and then it went to literal like leader, like the numbers. And then
that happens twice.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to the moon and back to him driving like the same shots, and I was like, what the fuck is this on purpose?
I mean, it has to be, doesn't it?
It does, but apparently Amazon lets people, not people, but I guess people that would own these copies of this film or any film. The reason there's like multiple sometimes of the same film is because they like allow different people involved to upload like different versions.
Okay.
So it could be like a literal mistake, like a weird copy of the film that was not cut out, maybe, but it also is dealing with dreams and all this stuff. With the way it ends, I just was like, well, maybe that was on purpose. It's like a meta thing. I don't know.
I'm shaking my head no.
Yeah, I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
There are weird copies of films that I've watched on Amazon where it's, they're really shitty, or there is stuff like that where it's whoever put it up there doesn't give a shit. That it's just like the crappiest version of whatever film, but yeah. There's also, dude, there was like, in the beginning, there was just so many Dutch angles. Like every other shot was just like this for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're trying to set up the haunted house, but I don't know. Yeah. It makes no goddamn sense. That's one of my notes.
It doesn't make any sense. And speaking of particular shit that doesn't make any sense, did you guys notice that when Clayton Rohner gets his finger cut off, he gets his finger cut off on his right hand, and like at least twice you see that the left hand is the one that has the missing finger, but then it switches back to the right. And it's like, it's at least a couple times where it's just so blatant. Like, you fuckers have no idea how to keep continuity, do you? You don't even remember what fucking finger you cut off.
That's awesome. I feel like I have an answer to Craig's earlier question of what he's a doctor of. That the doctor that leads the group, and I think he has a PhD in green lighting.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the director and cinematographer, for whatever reason, everything had to be fucking green.
It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks terrific. There's just a lot of it.
I really like the end credit song, actually. Also, by the way, it was like my favorite part of the whole movie.
Okay. So, does anybody else have anything that they want to throw?
We can't not mention the gratuitous nudity for all the dream study shit, too. Like how it starts out with the dream, and then she's wearing like white see-through underwear, and then just strips in front of everybody. And I was like, okay, we're not even trying to pretend. Yeah.
They all take it with like joking. Even the professor, she's just like and they're laughing about it.
Yeah.
While she's
that goes down with the social services lady from Evil Within. Who's like, they obviously did a lot of research.
And like the gratuitous masturbatory scene too, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for whatever reason, there's that fucking cut to the other chick and why she's dressed completely differently and almost naked. It's like, huh? Why? I don't understand this at all.
Her hair's a different color too. And
yeah. It's just like, okay, clearly there was a nudity point that you needed to hit, and you were going to make damn sure that you hit it.
Yeah, it feels like they definitely abused dream logic a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
I do think it's pretty amazing though, like the fact that my two picks were spur of the moment and they correlate so well with one another in dreams, and even there's a couple of mentally challenged characters, that worked out well.
Yeah, it's like you planned
it.
Yeah,
totally unplanned.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
anyway, Nightwish is one of the greatest films ever made, so do yourself a favor and check it out.
It is free on Amazon Prime. I know for sure. I think it's also on Tubi or one of.
Probably, yeah.
If you want to check it out, yeah. And
same with Evil Within.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Josh's pick episode, where we talked about Evil Within and Nightwish. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bloodhound Pix podcast is produced by Josh Lee, Craig Dram, and Kyle Hintz. Music by Raymond Seed. Audio editing by Kyle Hintz.